This video features the best free-to-play and pay-to-win comps for each stage of the March Championship Challenge. Stay tuned as I go over the best comps and how to play each comp in this video. Let's begin. Alright, stage number 1 is going to be Bounty Shooting Star. Alright, let's go over our free-to-play comp first, and the first brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Tick. For Tick, stay in the middle and have the wall protect you. Spam away at the enemies even though your main target is the brawler in the middle. You can still help out your teammates on the lane if they're needing to run away and heal up. Have your mines cover the ground to buy your teammates time. Now for the left lane, you want to be picking Nani. Go on the left lane and help out Tick in the middle if you have to. Keep your distance and try to charge your super up from a distance. Once you get your super, run into the back of the map and seek out the enemies for a free kill. And finally, for the brawl on the right lane, go Piper. Go on the right lane and help out Tick in the middle if you have to. Keep your distance and use your homemade recipe gadget to get a kill if an enemy is low. Use your super to escape any assassin or high incoming damage projectile coming towards you. Now for our pay to win comp, the first brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Jean. For Jean, stay in the middle and poke away at the enemies. Your goal is to heal up your teammates that are on the lanes, and if you have to, just keep them alive. Use your super to pull in the enemies and have your teammates help you burst them down. The next brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Leon. For Leon, go on the left lane and place your lollipop gadget behind that wall. Keep it protected so you can stay invisible and try to charge your super from a distance. Once you get your super, go invisible and sneak up onto the enemies for some free kills. And finally, on the right lane, you want to go Fang. Go on the right lane and use your far range shoe attacks to charge your super. Your job is to eventually get your super and wait until the enemies are all clumped up together, and then that is when you strike like a python and use your super. You can also just help out your teammates stay alive if they are pressured by another assassin. Alright, so that's it for Bounty Shooting Star. Here is the comp you want to use for free to play, and here's the comp you want to use for pay to win. Alright guys, the next stage in the championship challenge is going to be Ball Pinball Dreams. Now let's go ahead and start off with our free to play comp. Let's talk about Barley. For Barley, go on the right lane and hide behind the wall to protect yourself. Shoot your main attacks over the wall and try to win that lane to gain pressure for your teammates. If the enemy team has a thrower, swap lanes with your teammate and lane that thrower instead. Now the next brawler is going to be Stu. Go in the middle and poke away at the enemies. Use your dashes to dodge incoming shots so you can stay alive and cause pressure onto the enemies. Use your breakthrough gadget to destroy the walls near the enemy's goal to make it easier for you and your teammates to score. And finally, the last brawler is going to be Primo. Use your meteor gadget to destroy walls and open up the map to benefit either Stu or to make it easier for you and your teammates to score the ball in general. Play slow at first and have Stu help you out if you are outranged by the enemy. Try to get your super and go ham onto the enemies. Now let's get into our pay to win comp, but the first brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Dynamite. For Dynamite, go on the right lane and hide behind the wall to protect yourself. Shoot your main attacks over the wall and try to win that lane to gain pressure for your teammate. If the enemy team has a thrower, swap lanes with your teammate and lane that thrower. And of course, with Dynamite, he has his insane hypercharge, so that's why he's going to be in the pay to win comp. Now the next brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Otis. For Otis, go in the middle and use your fat splatter gadget to block off the choke point in the middle right at the start of the match. This will just buy you time to gain initial control on the map and help you and your team pressure the enemies back from the get-go. And finally, the last brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Cordelius. For Cordelius, go on the left lane and sneak up in the bushes onto the enemy. Use your replanting gadget to hop over the wall if you want to surprise the enemy at any given time. Use your super to isolate the strongest brawler on the enemy team and give your team the best chance to score. Alright, so that's going to be it for Ball Pinball Dreams. Here is the comp for free to play, and here is the comp for pay to win. Alright guys, the next stage I'm going to talk about for the challenge is going to be Gem Grab Double Swoosh. Let's start off with our free to play comp, and the first brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Jesse. For Jesse, go in the middle and try to charge up your super as quickly as you can. Throw your super over the enemy team's wall and use your spark plug gadget to slow them down. You can also use your energized star power to your advantage to keep your scrappy turret alive as long as possible to frustrate the enemy team. Now the next brawler is going to be Ems. For Ems, go on the left lane and pester the enemies from the left side of the map. Use your main attacks to hit any enemy enemies that are hiding in the bushes, and also use your super to scout out the bushes. The friend zoner gadget will also help you push enemies away if they end up sneaking up onto you. Now the last brawler I'm going to talk about for the free to play comp is going to be El Primo. For Primo, go on the right lane and run directly into the enemy team's faces. However, try not to feed the enemy's supers and try to get your super first. Stay in those bushes as long as you can to just confuse and cause the enemies to stay on their toes at all times. It will help you and your team maintain control that much more efficiently. Alright, now let's go ahead and hop into the pay to win comp, and the first brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Sandy. Now for Sandy, go on the left lane and pester the enemies from the left side of the map. The Sweet Dreams gadget will help you stun enemies that could be either carrying gems or to just stun them so you can run away and stay alive yourself. The next brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Jean. For Jean, go in the middle and use your attacks to scout the bushes. Use the vision gear so your teammates can also see where the enemies are whenever you hit them with your main attack. This will come in handy so that your teammates won't have to worry where the enemies are when running around throughout the bushes. Alright guys, and the last brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Cordelius. For Cordelius, go on the right lane and use your poison mushroom gadget to mute the enemies so that you can stay alive and also keep control of the bushes. Use your super to isolate the strongest brawler on the enemy team and give your team the best chance to either keep control or to just collect more gems in general. But alright, there we go. That's gonna be it for the gem grab double swoosh stage. This is the comp you want to use if you're free to play, and this is the comp you want to use if you are paid to win. Alright guys, the next stage I'm gonna talk about is gonna be Hot Zone Ring of Fire. Let's start off with our free to play comp, and the first brawler I'm gonna talk about is gonna be Ems. For Ems, use your main attacks to pressure the enemies back so that they have a harder time getting to the hot zone alive. If the enemies run around and into your team's bushes, you can always just use your super to scout them out, and even use your friend zoner gadget to push them back if needed. The next brawler is gonna be Bow. For Bow, use your main attacks to deal consistent damage to the enemies. Place your mines at the entrance of the hot zone where the enemy's team's bushes are so they can't sneak around without your team seeing them first. After those bushes are destroyed, then you can place your mines in front of the hot zone or at the initial choke point to consistently trap the enemies. And finally, you want to be running Poco. For Poco, use your super to keep your teammates alive. Also use the tuning fork gadget to heal you and your teammates up when you get low. Run the screeching solo star power to deal damage to the enemies and heal up your teammates at the same time. Your job as Poco is to keep your teammates alive and gain time on the hot zone. Do not be going gung-ho, running like a chick with no head into the enemies and feeding them supers. But alright, that's it for a free-to-play comp. Let's get into the pay-to-win comp, and the first brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Meg. For Meg, use your mech to tank shots for your teammates so they can stay alive on the hot zone longer. Take advantage of the amount of damage you can do while in your mech to cause pressure to the enemy team. Stay in your mech as long as you can and get it back as quickly as possible if it gets destroyed. The next brawler is gonna be Lou. Lou is a no-brainer because you just want to be trying to charge up your super and chain your super as much as you can. When you finally get your super, throw it and have it cover the entire hot zone. You can also use your cryo syrup gadget to freeze the enemies up if they end up standing on your syrup. That is when you can chain your next super and team wipe everybody. And of course with Lou, you can use his insanely broken hypercharge because it's just so good in hot zone. And finally, the last brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Stu. First, Stu, dash around the map and just frustrate the enemies as best as you can. Consistently use your super to dodge incoming shots and cause a ton of pressure onto the enemy team. Now, even though Stu, he's more of a higher skill cap brawler, he can absolutely shred within the right hands, no doubt. But alright guys, that's going to be it for stage number 4, Hot Zone Ring of Fire. Here is the free-to-play comp you want to be running, and here's the pay-to-win comp you want to be using too. Alright, and finally the last stage for the March Championship Challenge is gonna be a knockout out in the open. Let's hop into our free-to-play comp, and the first brawler I'm gonna talk about is gonna be Brock. Now with Brock, you want to use the rocket fuel gadget right at the start of the match to destroy your team's wall for easier access to the middle. Use your large main attack projectile radius to your advantage when scouting the enemy team's bushes. Keep your distance at all times and use your ammo very wisely. The next brawler brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Carl. For Carl, you want to peek shoot around walls with your main attack, if you know how to. Also use your flying hook gadget to go across the water if needed, or you can also use it to close down the distance between you and the enemy. Combine this with your protective pirouette star power to fly to the enemies and then use your super to get them down. And finally, the last brawler for the free-to-play comp is going to be Piper. For Piper, use your long range to like 2 to 3 shot the enemies. Unfortunately, if the enemy team is running assassins or other aggro brawlers, you're going to have to use your super to jump away so you can survive. Use your homemade recipe gadget to finish off weak enemies that could be either out of your normal range or you just want to catch them off guard in general. But okay, that's going to be it for the free-to-play comp. Let's hop into the pay-to-win comp, and the first brawler is going to be Eve. Use Eve to travel over the water as an easy way to get to the middle. You can also just use Eve to walk over the enemy team's water as well and pinch the enemies from their own spawn. Try to get your super and have the hatchling scout the bushes for you, or even tank shots for you and your teammates. Run the gotta go gadget to dodge heavy incoming attacks or to just jump over obstacles and surprise the enemies. The next brawler I'm going to talk about is going to be Nani. Use your long range main attacks to chip away at the enemies. You can also shoot around the barrels or walls with her main attack, which makes her a very good brawler for this map. Use your return to sender gadget if playing against other sharpshooters to keep yourself alive or even get an unexpected kill. Once you get your super, hide away in the back of the map and seek out the enemies for an easy kill. And last but not least, you want to be using Meg. Meg is going to be a great brawler to constantly have the long range and DPS to stay alive. If you have the mech, that's great. Use your attacks to pressure the enemies back or to just deal heavy amounts of damage. If you don't have the mech, no worries, just chip away at the enemies with your far attack range and you'll get it back rather quickly. Alright, well there you guys go, the guys go 15-0 in the March Championship Challenge. I wish you guys all the best of luck and let me know in the comments down below how you guys did. Well anyway guys, if you guys enjoyed that guide, I highly recommend you go check out this guide right here.